what brought us here to Connecticut, what brought us here to Mystic was that sense of community. We had great friends from Block Island to here. Now we have great friends that are in the community, in the business world, and both my wife and I have just totally embraced it because, again, whatever you give in, you get out.
Hands in the air, let the rhythm flow. Ooh, let it flow. Together we rise, let the good vibes grow. Community conversations, yeah. Keep it alive.
321 Media and the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce is here with Community Conversations. I'm Bruce Flax, here with Brian Connors, and of your business of?
Connors Davis Hospitality.
All right. And Brian, tell us, to start, a little bit about the business and
Sure.
how you got there and why you're here.
Absolutely. Connors Davis is a family business. I mean, my mom started in 1986 of all things, was the first independently owned female-driven business back in the day, and through the years it developed and grew. But as it developed and grew, so did I. And then we kind of branched off more and more into the hospitality space, which has been pretty significant. And what a great place for here to raise a family and to move than the greater Mystic area. So it's kind of a no-brainer to bring Connors Davis Hospitality to Mystic.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit, like, who are your, who do you work with?
You know, right now, some of our major clients is Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. I used to be with Celebrity for quite a few years. Bacardi North America, we still do some work with them, as well as local operators here, which has probably been one of my most fulfilling projects as of late.
And coming up as a family-owned business, and it was your mom who?
Yeah, my late mother. And it's funny because she wasn't actually in the hospitality. She started out, of all things, with Girl Scouts of USA.
Yep.
And then it spun off into this leadership development and so forth. But I slowly but surely, Bruce, pulled her into the hospitality side. And she definitely got the hospitality bug later on in her life. But leadership, people development, a lot of things we specialize in. Me on the operational side, the beverage side, the culinary side, all these things we bring to the table. She really embraced it. And, you know, what a great mentor I had.
Yeah, and seeing this, so like when, as you developed it and brought your, had your mother along, and she kind of like together, like how, what is, can you give some advice or some information about how to best deal with family?
Family business. We do get that one a lot. Mom was the boss, that there was no clear about that. But however, she also believed in expertise. And if you were an expert at something, she believed in that. Me, with my background coming in hospitality, was my level of expertise. And so we were able to then blend. But anytime you're working with family dynamics, even though ours was a little different, it's always something interesting, it's educational, but at the same time, it's fun because you know, we had this thing that blurred lines where a lot of our family chats would then weave into business and back and forth. And quite frankly, Bruce, I didn't know any different. That's what it was like growing up in my household because I watched my mother throughout her whole career grow and develop this business. Now we're over 30 plus years old and just really hitting our stride in all the best ways.
Yeah, we can see that happening. Like, can you talk about maybe one or two things that set your business apart, make you guys different?
Yeah, it's long-term customer, long-term relationships. That's always been the key. You know, I mentioned Celebrity Cruise Lines. I was with them for about 6 years, called back about 2 years ago to work directly now with Royal Caribbean. Now, in the consultancy space, or that's like dog years. That's incredibly long. It's true, but even my partnership with Bacardi and Bacardi North America stems back to my background in higher education. I was the endowed Bacardi professor when I relocated my family here to Mystic to raise my family in my home state of Connecticut. I was able to be embraced again and work with them. So it's really about building these long-term relationships. You're not in it for the quick fix. You're in it for the long haul, that it becomes a partnership.
Yeah, and that sounds like some really good advice to people, whether you're entrenched in business or you're just starting out. Like, the relationships are so important.
You're one of the kings at it, my friend.
Yeah.
But that is so true. And if you don't have those relationships, and relationships are like, I heard a good analogy as I'm getting ready to do talks tomorrow with the Massachusetts Restaurant Association. And leadership and relationships are a lot like gardening. And if you're not constantly maintaining that garden, if you're not constantly looking at what's going on, seeing the environment, they could change. And, you know, relationship building is part of it. And in consultancy, it's one of the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I actually say a lot, and it's so true, is never burn a bridge. That the people that you deal with that you may think you never deal with again are going to come circling back into your life, and you don't want that bad, some kind of bad relationship in the past to to sour something in the future.
It's so true, you know, from higher ed to consultancy, you know, everything has this kind of ebb and flow, but it's true because you run into people, you see people, but just keeping, even if it's just as simple as a Christmas card, or, you know, when we relocated here to Mystic with my family, boom, I just gave a heads up to people. That's what it's all about. It's not constant. It's just keeping that relationship open, the lines of communication open, and, you know, valuing it. And that's important, to value that relationship.
I think also there's a sincerity to it.
Yeah.
You know, that like people I think lose track of sometimes, where there's a big difference between talking to somebody, like reaching out in anticipation of reaching out again, like asking for something, as opposed to just checking in sincerely to see how business is going and how you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and the key thing is that don't take. You know, give more than you take. And when you can give back to someone, you know, as simple as a letter of reference for somebody, or, you know, helping someone, you know, choose their path to the college career next, whatever that is, just don't take. You always want to be giving. And that goes back to that gardening analysis. You know, how are you maintaining that soil and those relationships?
And what about, you know, how long have you been down to Mystic now?
Oh, we're going on a year and a half, almost 2 years. I think it'll be 2 years, and we finally pulled the trigger and said, let's go for it. Let's leave South Florida and move here to Mystic.
Nice. So you're entrenched in the community 18 months, 24 months. What are you finding with this community in particular?
You know, it's the key word there. Number one, we are definitely the foodie destination. We are a hospitality hub, and it took me a little while to get it, but now I get it more than ever. But the key word that you said a few times there that we talk about constantly is the community. What brought us here to Connecticut, what brought us here to Mystic was that sense of community. We had great friends from Block Island to here. Now we have great friends that are in the community, in the business world, and both my wife and I have just totally embraced it because, again, whatever you give in, you get out, which is great, and that goes back to that relationship building. But we couldn't be happier.
And where do you like to spend your time here?
We're here on my boat.
And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Right on the Mystic River as much as I can. But, you know, Super Dad, as the joke goes, I have Irish twins, hence the name of our boat. Anything I can do with them. But for being here, Block Island, we love Napatri and Sandy Point and just getting out on the water with the family that way. The local restaurant scene, as I'm preaching to the choir, is fantastic. We got it going on, but the local farmers markets, you go to my kitchen right now, just right up the hill, and it's full of local produce, local eggs, local milk. We're even using the modern milkman.
So is that right?
Oh, it's great.
Milkman?
It's fantastic. Yeah, the kids love it too.
Yeah. So like you know, you spoke about the community and how you guys have connected. Your family, wife, 2 kids.
Yep, absolutely. And my mother-in-law, father-in-law are here in Mystic. My brother-in-law and his family, same age kids. So we had that built in. But as I said, we also have a huge network of friends, and that's support group. It's been fantastic. I mean, you can walk down the street here, you're gonna run into somebody. Usually, a lot of times it's you, Bruce, but you know, whoever it is, even here at Steamboat, we'll always run into people, and it's just a nice way to have a conversation in the afternoon and really have that sense of belonging.
Well, I think that you know, even the way that we met at the ATY.
You're behind the sticks.
Behind the sticks, doing a little bartending, like celebrity bartending, if you want to call it that. But you know, we had kind of bonded over some of the things that you're doing. You teach at Salve. My daughter went to Salve. What do you have? What's cooking there? What's going on with the hospitality?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's always great when they reach out to you, but Salve Regina was nice enough to invite me to join their faculty there. Now, I had a full-time administrative role down in South Florida, and quite frankly, I wanted to kind of step back from that administrative role and really spend more time in the classroom and connect and see what's going on. And just so happened that Salve Regina in Newport, Rhode Island, close by, started out their hospitality program within their business school, a small growing program. It's a minor turning into a major, and my whole idea or my whole directive was go teach. And absolutely, as I told you, absolutely fell in love with it. The students are great, and again, I spent a good amount of time in Newport, Rhode Island, so I know it all too well. I cut my teeth at a restaurant called the Clark Cookhouse there for many, many years. I was there over the weekend, but I see then Newport and Mystic and Foxwoods and Mohegan as our laboratory, where we can bring these students, which I did, everywhere and give them hands-on real experience and learning, and Salve students just get it, and they just fantastic. I think I told you the story at Foxwoods. It was phenomenal.
Unbelievable. Where Chef Eddie brought you guys, gave you the royal treatment. That's awesome. And then the hospitality, the courses, what we're going to be trying to do here with the with you in partnership with the chamber.
That was literally the idea of something we're doing in Massachusetts. We're currently talking to Rhode Island, but I also see this need. I've been in higher education for 20 years. I've been in the consultant space even longer than that. And knowledge in our industry is always the key. You have a little bit more, and our first offering is going to be profitability and menu engineering. It's something I did here with a local partner, and it worked like a charm. And when I approached you and your team and said, let's do something local that I can give back, share my experience, share my knowledge, give people, the tools. We like to call it a bag of tricks.
Yeah.
You fill up your bag of tricks, and guess what? You can take that with you. And we're not talking these mega long, we have these beautiful little vignettes, these little snapshots of learning, and you're able to come in, you pick up those new tricks, you take them with you where you go back to your restaurant, to your hotel, to your venue, to your vineyard, to your brewery. The list can go on there because, we are definitely the Connecticut epicenter of hospitality.
Yeah, no, and I think when you came is exactly what the Chamber is trying to do, is to give those benefits to our members, to elevate people. And so the hospitality industry in particular, their time is limited. And they don't have a lot of opportunity, so we want to give them that opportunity and respect their time.
Because it's a 24-hour, 7-day a week. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So even if we can give a little bit of that, knowledge break, if you will, and they go, oh yeah. And again, it's the three things, your three takeaways. You put them in there, and you're on to the next thing. But menu engineering, we're going to get into and show a little bit of the psychology, but also some of the basic math that goes behind it. But why what works is what works. And of course, I'll tell the stories. I picked up a lot of tricks that are artificial intelligence how was that 2 or 3 months ago, 4 months ago now we did that, but we'll talk a little bit about that and weave that into where is technology going next.
Well, Brian, I really appreciate your time, this community conversations. Thanks to 321 Media and the Chamber.